Happy Monday, everyone. Yep, back to the old grind. Someone's going outside. Right, let's get to my low, my high, my act of kindness. Okay, so here's the thing. Last couple times I visited my folks and we're watching like Tournament of Champions and American Idol. I've been winding up going to bed pretty late. So I legit try to go home early, right? The problem is I actually had some stuff to take back here, and I missed the final battle between, I missed pretty much the final battle between Madison Cowan and Iron Chef Izzard. So yeah, I missed that part, and I kind of missed that. That's my low. Let's see what else. Well, my high is we tried making penne Riccardo last night, first time ever, and I actually have some things to amend for now, or about that. I'll get to it momentarily. And my act of kindness was I helped set up the table and prepare everything for dinner, as well as, here's the thing. There's some stuff at my folks' place that I would eventually have to bring here anyway. So I took care of that while my folks were out watching my nephews. So there you go. So let's amend a few things, shall we? I feel like doing another MoReas about a movie that isn't critically well liked, but I still like anyway. Good morning and happy Monday, everyone. I already said good morning, happy Monday. Why did I do that? Okay, so, funny story. The way I described how penne Riccardo was made was, believe it or not, how my grandfather had adjusted it over time. The recipe that was given to my mom and I was the original recipe, the way it was meant to be made, the way it was originally intended. And, I mean, long story short, they both taste exactly the same, so whatever you decide, whichever way, like, you would decide to do it, you really wouldn't go wrong. But, the recipe that I tried years ago, when my grandfather made it, I mentioned the whole very thinly sliced prosciutto that you got sliced really thin, only the asparagus tips are in it, stuff like that. The way the recipe was originally made is, instead of the thinly sliced prosciutto, it's actually diced. You can actually find diced prosciutto most anywhere. And instead of just the asparagus tips, it's pretty much the entire stalk of asparagus. Actually, would you consider this, is it a stalk of asparagus? What's the noun for it? Not collective noun, just the noun, And regardless, it was still really good. Okay, so funny story. I'm actually a really fast eater, right? And when it comes to having stuff like pasta, specifically, depending on the type of pasta, I'm either going to eat it really fast or really slow. And here's the thing, I don't mean to eat stuff like that fast. It's, what's slow for me is still like really fast compared to other people. Although, to be fair, by that point I'm so hungry I don't really care. But my mom she commented how slow I was eating, and when it comes to eating like tube pasta, like penne, sometimes what I like to do is I'll take my fork and run like one of the prongs through like the actual tube pasta and sort of eat that individually. A couple times I actually got what's quote unquote the perfect bite, which is like one penne pasta noodle with the cheese sauce on it. One piece of prosciutto, one piece of asparagus, all in one bite. It works as a whole. So that was really cool. Let's see what else. Aside from watching Tournament of Champions last night, we watched. My mom and I were watching Idol too. Actually, we saw a few really good singers. There was this one guy who didn't, who got. I mean, of course, you're gonna show someone not going through. But there were a few really good auditions. There was this one guy whose audition was literally a song he wrote for his girlfriend, which, that's pretty awesome. I mean, of like the hundreds of ways that a guy can make a woman feel loved, writing a song for them has got to be up there. The song was called Golden Eyes, which, no kidding, like, her eyes obviously aren't like gold color per se, but they're definitely a shade of yellow that one might think, you can maybe pass that for gold, I think. But again, that's just me. There was just one girl who auditioned, and years ago, she won like a talent competition because she sang Katy Perry's Firework. I thought that was funny. There was this one guy who was diagnosed with autism who, like, went from having, like, loud noises, because that's actually what happens sometimes with autistic people. They can't handle loud sounds and noises. He actually turned it around, and he wants to pursue being, like, a singer for the rest of his life, which, bro, you turn your weakness into a strength. That's awesome. I don't care what anyone says. Seriously, like, of all the professions that someone of his disability could do, you would think that being a singer would be rather counterintuitive because you deal with loud sounds all the time, but it works. He made it work for himself. That's really cool. So yeah, there are a few really great auditions that we saw. I also have to point out though, like, they were in Vegas, which you think would be like kind of like the theme. Not where they are is the theme per se, but except for that one guy I mentioned who brought his girlfriend, practically like every singer who auditioned brought their mom. I mean, listen, I'm far too old to be ever auditioning for American Idol, so I can't really say if I would bring my mom or not to, like, the audition, if I would ever do American Idol. Actually, come to think of it, I don't. See, that's one of the reasons why I really wouldn't audition for American Idol. And that's because, like, straight up, who would I bring with me? Like, I just have, like, the who, that's me. The what, American Idol. The when, that I don't know. The where, wherever they're having the audition, I guess. The why and the how. Like, obviously whoever brings me, that would be part of the how, as well as part of the who. Again, there's a lot of things you gotta consider. But yeah, it was a great episode of American Idol. And since I'm feeling up for it, I think I'll do another MoReas of a movie that did not get critically well received, but I like anyway. So, what am I going to talk about now? Actually, you know what? Instead of one movie, how about I do 3? The Austin Powers trilogy. I know the first 2 movies were actually more critically well liked. It's just that Goldmember was the one that was not critically well received. I'll get into that in a second. If you don't know what Austin Powers is, it stars Mike Myers, who is an international spy who, I mean, he is, for lack of a better analogy, a sexual deviant. I mean, literally his catchphrase is, "Yeah, baby." Like, that's him. I don't know how else to describe it. And his nemesis is Dr. Evil, also played by Mike Myers. And he's known for doing this. He's known for completely belittling his biological son, Scott. Ladies and gentlemen, Scotty don't. The Spy Who Shagged Me, which was the sequel, introduced Mini-Me, played by the late, great Vern Troyer. His nemesis is not, like, his lead henchman is number 2. And, a lady named Frau. And basically, Dr. Evil tries to take over the world, and usually the scheme involves using some sort of giant device that could ruin the world, and the only way he can, and what will stop him from not doing it is if the world government gives him $1 million. Obviously, later it turns out that $1 million is a large sum of money, but it's not like world ending or whatever, you know? Again, here's what happens. Dr. Evil and Austin Powers would battle each other like in the 60s and 70s, but they both froze each other so they could take over the world like later, which is really funny. And Mike Myers is also known for doing another character who's also very quotable called, pardon the language, Fat Bastard. And the other character that Mike Myers does is a character called Goldmember, the namesake title of the third Austin Powers movie and the movie that was not critically well received. Let's talk about that for a minute. I loved Austin Powers Goldmember. And I've been trying to think of, like, here's the thing. The best legit comparison I can make with Austin Powers Goldmember would be along the likes of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome or Army of Darkness and the Evil Dead trilogy. Like, of the 3 movies that are in that trilogy, in their respective trilogies, they're the ones that critics cared for the least. However, they're also the most quotable. Seriously, I can quote, like, Goldmember like you wouldn't believe. I mean, first of all, how could you hate Goldmember? It had Beyonce just as she was getting into the peak of her power. She was Foxy Cleopatra. She was a whole lot of woman. Her words, not mine. It had Michael Caine, who was revealed as, actually, the big twist in Goldmember, and it actually does, Goldmember actually does a good job rounding out the trilogy. See, the real, twist of the trilogy, and spoilers by the way, Dr. Evil and Austin Powers are brothers, and Michael Caine is their dad. Basically, the 4 of them, obviously with their mom, are like in a car, and the car exploded, and he was able to save Austin, but he thought that Dr. Evil was gone when it turns out he was taken away by the Dutch, I think. Yeah, apparently one running gag in Goldmember is that the Dutch are evil, which kind of works. I think South Park actually did a similar joke where they said that the Dutch are the Canadians of Europe, I believe. So I guess that joke isn't entirely unheard of. And just like one scene I never get tired of watching is Goldmember suggests something. I forgot what it was, and Dr. Evil is like in his like power chair, so like, shh. How about now? Like that. I love that. That's funny. There was also like a moment in Goldmember where his son Scotty, played by Seth Green, like is legit finally impressing him. He finally got him sharks with freaking lasers on their heads. Yes, Dr. Evil always wanted freaking sharks with freaking lasers on their freaking heads. I love that scene so much in the first one. Oh my god. He's like, I have one simple request. And that is I want sharks with freaking laser beams attached to their heads. Now evidently my psychoptic colleague, talking about number 2, tells me that cannot be done. What do we have? Sea bass. Right. They are mutated sea bass. Really? Are they ill-tempered? Absolutely. Let's just stop. Oh, I love that. Oh, that's great. That's funny. And Scotty actually got him laser beam. Basically, like one of the running plot lines in Goldmember is Mini-Me is losing favor with Dr. Evil because Scotty's doing a great job of earning Dr. Evil's favor, and it's great. Like he's like, give us a moment. Not you, Scotty. Not you, number 2. Not you, Frown. Not you, Goldmember. Not you, henchman holding wrench. Not you, henchman pressing buttons, pretending like you're doing something when you're really not. Like, and they're both looking at Mini-Me like, this is uncomfortable. I can quote this movie all day, guys. I'm sorry. Really the entire trilogy I could do. I mean, I could always do Fat Bastards. Get in my belly! Seriously, it's... I gotta stop before I quote too much. So, listen. Austin Powers isn't necessarily for everyone. I mean, a lot of fans love it. Some, like, seriously, it's about, it's based on the whole, like, British spy humor. And if it's not your thing, you're probably not going to like this movie. Seriously, I really could go further. I could really talk about, like, some of the best jokes of, like, all the movies, but I should probably stop here. So, seriously, if you ever have an opportunity to check out the Austin Powers trilogy, do it. It's a lot of fun, to be sure. I hope you all liked this video. If you did like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on social media. As always, I am very humbled to make this video for all of you guys watching Joe for today. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Monday. And remember, videos on Talk Channels, we're here to lend the old everybody. Take care, make good choices. 607 all day, baby. One last thing. It's so funny. I just talked about Step Brothers the other day. It was on MTV last night. It's destiny, man.